Today, we're breaking down 6 of the cringiest shows we used to watch on MTV in the 2000s. What were we thinking? Drop a comment with your favorite, or least favorite. Let's get into it. Starting strong with a crown jewel of teenage entitlement, My Super Sweet 16. This show was peak mid-2000s delusion. It followed ridiculously rich teenagers as they threw themselves birthday parties that cost more than most weddings, and let's be honest, were mostly just flexathons for their classmates and random B-list celebrities. Remember when a kid cried because they got a Lexus instead of a BMW? Or the girl who canceled her party because the invitations didn't sparkle enough? These kids weren't just spoiled. They were emotionally unhinged in the most hilarious, unrelatable way. But we couldn't look away. It was like watching a Gucci-covered train wreck in slow motion. Also the performances, because apparently, every 16-year-old in 2005 needed Sierra or T-Pain at their party like it was a rite of passage. And every episode the party would stop so that the parents could hand their spoiled brat kid the keys to some super expensive car. It was so extra, so disconnected from reality and so addictive. We tuned in weekly just to yell, "Are you serious right now?"
I'm Allison, I'm 19, and I'm a personal trainer, but I don't want to have to whip these guys into shape.
Now let's talk about Next, the most brutally shallow dating show to ever exist. If you don't remember, here's the premise. One person goes on speed dates with 5 people who are literally waiting in a van nearby. At any point during the date, the chooser can say, "Next," and the poor soul gets sent back to the van like a rejected sandwich. Sometimes people would get nexted before they even said hello, like,
Hi, I'm Kyle.
"Next."
Okay, cool. Guess I'll go cry in the van now.
It was mean, it was petty, it was super staged, but you couldn't look away. And let's not forget the intros. Every contestant had to hit us with a 5-second personality pitch that felt like it was written by someone high on Monster Energy.
Hi.
Hey there, I'm Anji.
Allison, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Allison. What is this stuff you got here?
And the date activities were wild. They'd go from speed rock climbing to salsa dancing while the other contestants watch from a surveillance van, throwing shade and eating Doritos. Peak TV. Up next, Parental Control. The plot. Parents hate their child's current boyfriend or girlfriend, usually because they're obnoxious, tattooed, unemployed, or just a walking red flag. So the parents each pick someone they think would be better, and those two go on dates with their kid while the current partner watches and roasts everything from a couch.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm like that poop that takes 50 flushes, and I'm still rising to the top.
Crap floats, that's true.
It was literally just a 22-minute passive-aggressive roast session with dating thrown in. The parents were brutal, the current partner was always the biggest jerk on earth, and the whole thing was staged harder than a soap opera, but we still bought into every second.
How you doing, Teddy?
Hey, Miss Gloria.
All right. Teddy, pick my daughter so she can stay out my damn bed.
Hi, it's good to see you again, Teddy.
How you doing, Diamond?
How you doing? Teddy, if you don't pick my daughter, you're going down.
Ah, yes. Date My Mom. The show where you try to find your soulmate by dating their mother. No, I'm not kidding. In this show, one person goes on dates with 3 different moms, without ever seeing their children. The moms spend the whole time hyping up their kid like they're a Greek god, while also low-key roasting the other contestants, and throwing in the cheesiest lines you've ever heard. Then, at the end, based on nothing but how convincing and charming the moms were, the dater picks one of them and finally meets their kid. Sometimes it worked out. Other times, the kid would step out and the dater's face would say it all. It was weird. It was awkward. It was uncomfortable. And it was 100% 2000s MTV.
Look at that red velvet dress. Look like a couch cover. Fold it, tuck it.
Okay, we can't talk about 2000s MTV without mentioning Pimp My Ride, aka the show where Exhibit took your rusty, broken-down car and turned it into a rolling fever dream. The formula was always the same. Someone's car looked like it barely survived a demolition derby. The back seat was missing, there were probably mushrooms growing under the floor mats, and the engine, barely functioning. Then Exhibit shows up like a fairy godmother in a bandana and says, "Yo, dog, I heard you like aquariums, so we put a fish tank in your trunk." And that's exactly what they did. People got cars with fireplaces, smoothie makers, full gaming setups, shoe racks, popcorn machines. Like, no one ever asked, "Is this street legal?" The cars looked amazing, but what they didn't show was how most of them were completely impractical and fell apart after a month. Not to mention completely fake. Shout out to the guy who got a cotton candy machine that melted every time he turned the car on. Still, Pimp My Ride gave us dream material. Even if your car only had 2 working doors and a missing muffler, maybe, just maybe, Exhibit would show up and turn it into a nightclub on wheels. Pure, beautiful nonsense.
Minivan, so I'm looking for the next best thing, a room box. It'll be able to sound like a Ferrari, an Aston Martin, a Saleen S7, or anything she wants.
Luis, there ain't nothing cool about the paint on this minivan. What are you gonna do about it?
I'm painting this thing jet black with flames down the sides and skulls everywhere.
Finally, we can't leave out Room Raiders, the show where your love life could be decided by how clean your socks were. In Room Raiders, one person would abduct 3 potential dates, toss them in a van, and go through their bedrooms without them there. Yes, they literally judged potential partners based on the cleanliness, decor, and vibe of their room. It was the most invasive thing ever. People were going through dirty laundry, reading diaries, sniffing pillows. It was weird. And totally staged, of course. And the best part? The black light. Every episode had a moment where the dater pulled out a UV light and scanned the sheets like they were working CSI, College Dorm Edition. Then, based on room inspection alone, they'd pick someone, and then meet them for the first time, while the losers got sent back to the van in shame. Let me know in the comments, which of these shows did you watch? Which one made you cringe the hardest? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more throwback chaos from the 90s and 2000s. Catch you next time.